Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Movie Magic Show for Wednesday, the 28th of July, 2021. I am one of your hosts, Shane Bailey, joined by my wickedly talented cast. To my right, it's the dulcet tones in your headphones, here to engineer a sincere atmosphere, Terry Fear.
What's up?
And to the right of him, he loves his VR and shaking his hips like Shakira. Please welcome the era of Jason Mira.
Hey.
How are we, gents?
I still don't know.
Yeah, pretty good.
Good.
Feeling cruisy.
Now you're telling me that my Twitch title's all fucked up, is it, Jace? Let's see here.
It says the question box episode 3, which is last Friday, which is yours.
That's not what mine says.
Mine says,
doesn't it?
Yeah, it's correct.
Okay,
on
I'm
mine.
gonna hit fucking. I'm gonna hit.
Oh, you are trying to sabotage the
I
show.
know. Look, I'm just trying to help you plug your Friday show every Friday Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Is that right?
Good help is hard to find, Shane.
If you're enjoying this, then you love the Movie Magic Show, which is the show that you're watching right now every Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. or thereabouts, Australian Eastern Standard Time. We chuckleheads love to love, bash, and trash the latest the entertainment world has to offer. You can follow us here on Twitch, catch the VODs over on my YouTube channel, just search Magic Casts. You can also follow us on Twitter, where we'll notify you of the topics we'll be discussing each and every week. That's at Movie Magic Show. Speaking of those topics, this week we will be reviewing The Dead Don't Die, which is a 2019 comedy horror zombie film with Adam Driver and Bill Murray. And in the latter segment, we will be reviewing Loki, the latest Disney Plus series to grace our subscription service. Before we get to those, though, we're going to set up our end games. These are games we like to play at the end of the show. The first among them is our movie quotes. We're going to give you two movie quotes. You need to try and guess which films they are from. I'm going to defer to the dulcet tones of Terry Fear for movie quote number one.
Now I need to remember what it was that I sent you, because I've got my second quote ready to go. First quote: "The problem with real life there's no danger music."
Have I definitely seen this? Do you know?
I don't know. I hope so. And if you haven't, I hope you do.
I feel like it's
an
kind
older
of familiar.
Movie. 90s.
Oh.
Very quotable.
90s, very quotable. Alrighty. And the second quote, courtesy of yours truly. "You're probably going to be a very successful computer person, but you're going to go through life thinking that girls don't like you because you're a nerd. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that won't be trtrue. It'll be because you're an asshole."
I think I know it. I haven't seen it, but I think I know it.
That's a great quote.
So those are your two movie quotes are going to scroll by in the ticker below. Guess them in chat if you know what they are. The last game that we like to play is our 6 degrees. We're going to give you two actors. You need to try and link them via co-stars in other films. So as an example, if you wanted to link, what do I usually link? Nicole Kidman to Samuel L. Jackson. Nicole Kidman was in Moulin Rouge with Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor was in all the Star Wars movies, well, not all of them, but most of them, with Samuel L. That'd be 2 degrees. Mr. Mira has the two topic actors to link this evening, and they are
Bill Murray and Julianne Moore.
Bill Murray and Julianne Moore. See if you can link them in the chat. We will come to our own solution at the very end of the show. But before we get to the end of the show, let's get to the start of the show with our first topic. We're going... Oh, he's already got it. There you go.
Yeah.
We're going to be reviewing The Dead Don't Die, which is currently streaming on Netflix, a runtime of 1 hour and 44 minutes. This film is a comedy fantasy horror, according to IMDb, released in 2019. And the synopsis goes: the peaceful town of Centerville finds itself battling a zombie horde as the dead start rising from their graves. It is written and directed by Jarmusch. Pardon me, who I'm just going onto his IMDb filmography right now, and there's not a lot. There's not a lot jumping out at me though.
Really?
I don't. A Stranger Than Paradise. I don't recognize this. Night on Earth, Dead Man, Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, Coffee and Cigarettes, Broken Flower.
Wow,
I don't know
Ghost
these
Dog,
films.
Way of the Samurai. That's the Forrest Whitaker movie.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I do not know these films. Anyway, it stars, like I mentioned, Bill Murray, Adam Driver. We also have Tom Waits, Chloe Sevigny, Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover, Maya Del Monte. Who else we got here? Tilda Swinton would be one of the other notable actors as well. In terms of the ratings, a 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb, a Metascore of 53, and Rotten Tomatoes, gents, take a stab.
I'm gonna go for 30.
No, I think that's probably a little harsh. I think folks might have. Rotten Tomatoes is users, not
Rotten
critics.
Tomatoes is critics. You see, they're thumbs up and thumbs down. So this is
Oh.
how many people gave it a positive rating overall.
I'd say 50
60.
plus or minus 3.
Whoa, 54%, Terry. So rotten.
Oh.
Bravo, yes, bravo. Yeah, so this one I just noticed scrolling through Netflix. The preview started playing, and I saw Adam Driver and Bill Murray. I was like, well, I've got to watch this one. This looks fun.
Yeah, no choice.
That's all that I knew about it. But Jason, I'll start with you as someone who's well versed in zombie fiction. You love the movies and the comics and all that jazz and the video games. What did you think of The Dead Don't Die?
So I was kind of expecting something a bit off kilter from your zombie films. Being familiar with some of his work there, like I've seen Coffee and Cigarettes a few times now. I've got the DVD in my spare room. Coffee and Cigarettes is like an anthology of people enjoying coffee and cigarettes and just talking and commentary on that. But I knew that like Tom Waits was in it. I knew that Iggy Pop was in it, and I was like, I'm in. Bill Murray's in it. I'm in. The first scene where they come across Tom Waits' character in the woods, kind of set the whole tone for the movie, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. Throughout watching the film, there were so many moments in it. I was like, that's very funny. It's very like low key funny. It just makes you go, like, what? Yeah, and then when it got to the climax, when the inevitable zombie horde came around, that's where me, as like the person who has a plan in case of a zombie apocalypse breaks out here at home or breaks out at work, like I already have my plan sorted out, and watching them go about dealing with the horde, I'm just like shaking my head and thinking, why are you doing that? Obviously there's a back door to this place. Why would you run out there and like try and battle the horde when you know that this shotgun only holds like 5 shells and only a couple more in your pocket? You're not going to take them all out.
It'd be at least 7.
More zombies than shells.
It's only 2 more than 5. It's still not good.
It's still not enough. So like I walked away from watching this laughing because of just how ridiculous it was. It was just it wasn't trying to take itself seriously. I know there was kind of like a anti-capitalism message towards the end there, but I walked away from this going, that was a fun ride, and movies are supposed to be fun. Adam Driver's character was very interesting with some of the things he said. Like, he said something at the start of the film when they were listening to the music, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be like this type of movie, huh? He kept that consistent. And they kept like laying things throughout the town, and I was like, okay, this is going to happen later, and this is going to happen later. So there were some characters I wish that I had seen more of. From the top there, I wish I had seen more of the Iguana Man, Iggy Pop himself, in the movie. But it's just like walking around like a zombie a little bit. That was cool. Not as much gore as I thought I was going to see, but that's fine. But as far as the zombie movie is concerned, it's interesting. It's not like the best zombie movie out there, not by a long shot, but it's up there in one of the more interesting takes on the zombie apocalypse, because they're kind of the classic Romero shambling zombies. They're not breaking down windows or anything like that. They're just like pressing their face up against the window and like, so that was fun to watch. So look, I enjoyed the film. I had a lot of fun. It was a hoot. Shane, it was a hoot. I had a great time.
I'm glad you did. Dulcet tones. Your thoughts?
I have mixed feelings about this film. I don't think that they knew what they wanted to do. The movie didn't know what it was supposed to be or what it was trying to be. It had moments like Jason mentioned with Adam Driver in the opening 5 minutes where he's like, oh, I love this song. That's the theme song. And I'm like, that's a fourth wall break, right? But Bill Murray's character just like ignores it, doesn't mention how strange a comment that is. And the song features quite prominently throughout the film. I like the song. It's a great song. It's a part of the movie that I quite like. You're introduced to a host of quirky hick-town characters, like Steve Buscemi's character, who's like the racist redneck. You've got Donald Glover. And is it Donald Glover?
Yeah, it's Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on a second. No, I think
Danny Glover. It's Danny Glover.
No,
It is Danny
Donald
Glover.
Glover is
No,
Childish
yeah,
Gambino.
yeah,
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
Childish
Yeah.
Gambino. I'm like, no. First, yeah.
You corrected yourself,
Danny
and
Glover.
I didn't think to correct
I
you,
did.
so we're all confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are. I confused the whole thing. The old kind of hardware store, reliable dude. Couple of diner gossips, like the cleaning lady, and the Tilda Swinton's character is just like obviously what she turns out to be. Like everything about this character is like, there's not just something not quite right, there's something definitely and decidedly wrong. Like, you don't make sense as a person, and not everybody in the movie does, but in this instance, like, I don't know, I just mixed on that one. The whole interaction between Selena Gomez and her trio of friends from out of town, and like they kind of come in, the hipsters from Cleveland, and like that interaction between her and the comic book store guy, and like she gets this sparkly thing behind her head after she says something nice, and I'm like, what the what's that about? Like, I don't like, what, why is that there? Like, if it's not gonna, it's like Chekhov's gun. It's like you can't put something into a movie without kind of either returning to it, explaining it, or having it kind of be part of the rest of the movie. Like, I just don't understand, like, what was the point? What's the point of this film? And like, you've got this, geopolitical kind of environmental thing where you've got these companies that are like on the TV and the radio saying polar fracking's perfectly fine and safe. It's like, it's not what's causing the planet to go off kilter. I'm like, I don't even think doing something, well, I don't know enough about the magnetic poles of the planet to say whether or not doing something like that would cause it to shift on its axis, but I don't know, there's a clear bent against that type of big industry. So not necessarily big business. I don't think it's necessarily anti-capitalism, but it's definitely like anti-industrial business. And you've got the hobo in the woods with a BB gun that he's made out of a fence post, who's kind of the narrator of the film, and he kind of knows what's up because he's in touch with nature, because he's lived in the woods like a crazy person for the last 30 years. And so he's seeing the animals and things go wrong, and he's like, ghouls, of course. I'm like, yeah, of course. Okay. I just, mixed feelings. Love Bill Murray. I love so much of the deadpan delivery between him and Adam Driver. Like, shit's going sideways, and Bill Murray's like, what? Oh yeah, that's a problem. And I'm like, and he's like, they go to the hardware store, and they come back with, all the different stuff. I don't know, like, the elements of the film, like Jason kind of said, had me laughing out loud, not just like, like I was like, that was objectively funny, that was really well written, but the whole the sum of its parts don't make sense. It's like when you try to build the Lego Death Star, but you've only got 2/3 of the bits, and the remaining third pieces you've pulled from like a 1980s traditional Lego set, and that's what you're working with. And so you don't end up with a Death Star, you end up with like the vague shape of most of the Death Star, and then a buttload of just like funky red, yellow, and white pieces that don't make any sense.
You end up with a fabulous Death Star instead.
Yeah, you get like the Death Star that's like gone through the abstraction part of Riley's brain, and it just doesn't make any sense. um, yeah, that's mostly my thoughts. I thought that yeah, Tilda Swinton's character was interesting, except at the same time, obviously not a person.
I think that's just Tilda Swinton in general.
She definitely played it really, really well.
Very well
I will
cast.
say
Very
one
well
of my favorite little bits that happened after the two Shamblers go into the diner. I will say I did actually like the zombies and the take on them, where they've got, similar to Shaun of the Dead, they're kind of
Go back to what they know.
They're drawn to what they know, that cognitive kind of preset that the mind was held in. So they go back to the diner and they're like, coffee. That was kind of nice. But my favorite bit is as they're leaving, is it Iggy Pop that was the male?
Yeah, Iggy Pop, man.
Yeah. He like comes out of the door and takes like a hard left and like bumps into the railing, and he's like, ugh, and then turns and goes downstairs. It's just a small thing. Yeah. I don't know if he was directed to do it, if he was like, this will be funny. But I really thought that was a really funny moment. Because it's like, I don't know where I'm going. I'm a zombie. I'm like barely here. So yeah, interesting. I don't know.
One of my favorite parts is that after the two diner people get killed and they all go in, it's like
one at a time.
It's like an animal. Or like multiple animals.
Yeah, multiple animals.
Look at the same thing.
Yeah. And it's like, you don't want to go in there. And she goes in anyway. And she's like, I really didn't want to go in there. It's like, you don't want to see that. I didn't want to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of land. Yeah, I land similar spot with you, Terry. Like so I'm just trying to tweet at the same time that we're live. Also, thanks, Twiggy, for joining us as always. You said you wanted more of Tilda Swinton kicking ass. Yeah, I could have done more of that as well. I'm the same as you. I started off, thinking to myself, oh wow, I think this is going to provide something different and quirky enough that I won't come out at the end of it thinking, why do we have another zombie movie? But I did come out at the end thinking, why did this exist, to your point, Terry? And how is this really like that interesting of a zombie film? Like maybe it was just like the humor was 50-50 for me. I think when it landed well, it was mainly due to timing, that managed really well by the actors themselves, like Bill Murray and Adam Driver, who, to your point, Terry, are just brilliant, bouncing off one another. I would love to see just more films with them. Just those two. They're so perfectly quirky for one another. They play that deadpan really well. But I think if it's not for those two, then I'm not sure I enjoy this film at all, honestly. Like it was just really let down by at least in my eyes, from just a somewhat of a weak plot. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, what's the overarching story here? Why do I care?
It's a really thin story. The premise is almost non-existent, which is, I think, why when you take such a weird turn, it makes even less sense, because that doesn't lend substance to the film. Like I mean, are we going to get into spoilers?
Yeah, go for it.
So when Tilda Swinton's character is like, we're going to go to the graveyard, meet me in the middle of the graveyard, and like they're trying their best to get there. And I will say, it's kind of shit that she left him, because like they were 50 meters away in the squad car from where like the UFO that like took her up kind of flew in. Like when that happened, I'm like, what? And if the point of that is to make everyone go, huh? Then mission accomplished. But it doesn't lend substance to the film. It doesn't make the film make any more sense. It makes sense of the character not being a person, because like that whole like turning on a dime when she's like walking around places, and like the not knowing what a person's supposed to look like after they're dead, like the fact that she's ignoring that corpses are moving and not mentioning anything to anyone. Like she obviously is like, anyway, she's supposed to be a mortician. It doesn't make any sense. And that doesn't lend substance to the film. To make it have that weird twist, it doesn't make the story make any more sense. It doesn't add anything. It doesn't really take anything away. It's just weird.
And it's all just like the to your point, Terry, the arrival of Selena Gomez and friends. Yes, Scott, we're talking chef again. You idiot.
Always talking chef.
Always
Chef
talking
is always in
about-
our hearts, Scott.
This is
Toasted
true.
cheese sandwich.
Somehow,
Oh.
some way, we're always talking about Chef.
Yeah.
Really, it all comes back to Chef. Yeah, but Selena Gomez and friends rock up, and there's a bit of commentary on the fact that they're hipsters from Illinois or wherever. But like the fact that they're out of towners has no bearing on, you know, what happens to them and why. And similarly, like the kids in Juvie, I think, were just like, what was their arc? Like, what of value is there?
And their arc doesn't close.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna go run this way.
They said, yeah, I've got a place we can hide, and that's the last we hear of them.
Yep.
They literally just break out and run, and maybe survive. I don't know. Yeah. So at the very beginning, I was like, okay, I think this is gonna have me. I was looking forward to how they were going to reveal the zombie threat to the characters within the film, right? Like I really enjoyed Shaun of the Dead and the way they handle that, where it's just, you know, Shaun's just like walking around, just like oblivious to the fact that the world's burning around him, and doing it in a really comical way. I love that about that movie, and this is just unremarkable in almost every sense of the word. And I got to the end of it thinking, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed seeing Bill Murray and Adam Driver on screen again, and Tilda Swinton as well. But outside of that, there's not much meat on the bones here.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I finished watching that movie, and I said to my friend I watched it with, I said, I bet you I'm the only person that's going to enjoy this film.
Yeah. I mean,
Bang
I
on.
enjoyed elements. I just don't think it's a good movie.
And
Which makes me a little sad.
the fourth
Great
wall breaking
soundtrack.
that happens at the start and then the end. Like,
And then the end. It doesn't make sense. There's no, like, why is it there? Like,
Why
it's
not?
not used as any meaningful storytelling mechanic.
it's
you know?
not. It really, really isn't. Like, Deadpool, there's a
I was about
point.
to say Deadpool does it brilliantly.
Yeah, there's a point to the fourth wall breaking in Deadpool. You see fourth wall breaking in TV shows all the time, like where, you know, someone will be like staring down the barrel of the camera, and it's there to lend something. And like other TV shows where the main character is the narrator of the story. You look like Scrubs. Scrubs is a great example of fourth wall breaking used appropriately, not constantly, but it makes sense because it's built into the premise of the show. This there's no premise for it. There's no purpose for it. There's no explanation of it. And do they name the director? Like,
Bill's
yeah,
like, you know
they
how
say
much I've
Jim.
done for Jim? Like Jim, the writer director.
yeah. And he's like, he gave you the whole script. He's like, yeah. He's like, he only gave me the scenes that we're in together. And he's like, after all I've done for him, I'm like, what? Like, I just, it doesn't make sense.
Very weird.
And like, I don't mind not getting something. I don't mind something being too cerebral for me to understand. Like a movie like Trance, I didn't get it straight away.
Yeah,
Like,
Eyes Wide Shut was that for me. I was like, what?
yeah, still don't get that film. Anyway, I don't mind something being too complicated or too high-minded for me to understand. I'm okay with not being smart enough to get everything. But when you hand something to me that is objectively stupid and confusing for no reason, it's not that it's like, oh, like you just don't get the vision. I'm like, no, this is just dumb. Like, anyway, I enjoyed parts of it. It doesn't make sense. Watch it if you would like. The song is amazing. The Dead Don't Die by Sturgill Simpson.
There you go.
Sturgill Simpson.
If you want to see Tom Waits as a hermit living in the woods, and if you want to see Iggy Pop as a zombie, definitely watch this film. And one other thing I want to bring up is like when he hands over the keys to his car, it's got the Star Destroyer on there as well. Yeah. I was like,
Twiggy says, I was waiting for everything to fall into place, but I was just left very confused. Yeah, you liked the script bit though. So there you go. Like we said, bits to love, but overall just quite confusing. That is The Dead Don't Die. It's currently streaming on Netflix, so check it out if you've run out of things to watch on Netflix.